You know, I shouldn't really have to say this, but after a 2016 in which Bristol City Council refused to run a single event to mark St. George's Day, a South Carolina high school principal banned the American flag from the school stadium, although granted he did reverse his decision later. A Massachusetts liberal arts college president banned the American flag, and all other flags for that matter, altogether, and SJWs have accused a man of racism for the capital offense of setting up and running a shop called Really British in Britain. It seems as though I have too. So, for those of you out there who believe that displaying pride in, or love for, one's own country, even whilst in that country, is somehow racist, let me spell it out for you. Patriotism is not racism. They are two very different things. Look, here's the definition of patriotism: devotion to one's own country and concern for its defense. Okay. Now here's the definition of racism. The belief that races have distinctive cultural characteristics determined by hereditary factors and that this endows some races with an intrinsic superiority over others. And 2. Abusive or aggressive behavior towards members of another race on the basis of such a belief. Do you see the difference now? Also, did you happen to notice that a certain word is conspicuous by its absence in that definition of racism there? That word was country, and that's because racism has nothing to do with countries or nationalities. For that matter, the words religion and faith were also not there for the same, or perhaps more accurately, the equivalent, reason, i.e. that racism has nothing to do with religion either. The clue is in the name. It's race-ism, not nationality-ism and not religionism. But maybe it goes further back up your line of reasoning than that. Maybe the reason you can't tell the difference between patriotism and racism is because you have the wrong idea about what constitutes not racism, but race itself. So here's the definition for that. 1. A group of people of common ancestry, distinguished from others by physical characteristics, such as hair type, color of eyes and skin, stature, etc. You see, physical characteristics, not nationality nor religion. Anyway, principal races are Caucasoid, Mongoloid, and Negroid. In other words, white, Asian and black. 2. The human race. I'm not sure why they gave that cross-reference a definition all of its own, but whatever. 3. A group of animals or plants having common characteristics that distinguish them from other members of the same species, usually forming a geographically isolated group, subspecies, I guess like Russian blue cats as compared to Siamese cats for example. 4. A group of people sharing the same interests, characteristics, etc. And 5. Well, that's just another cross-reference, this time to play the race card. By the way, if you're wondering why it says race 2 up there, race 1 is all about the word in the sense of the 100 meters and stuff. Anyway, as you can see, the only definition here where, if it were used as the basis for prejudice, that prejudice would be classed as racism, is the first one: a group of people of common ancestry, distinguished from others by physical characteristics. Now, I know what some of you are going to say. You're going to say, but hold on, physical characteristics and nationalities are connected. Different nationalities have different physical characteristics, like the Swedes all having naturally blonde hair for example, to which I would say, yes, the Swedes all have naturally blonde hair, but so do the Norwegians. It's not something that's unique to just the Swedes. Naturally blonde hair is something that is found in that part of the world generally. It has nothing to do with any one individual nationality. Of course, the consequence of all this misconstruing of anything even vaguely patriotic as being evidence of racism is that you end up seeing racists around every corner. But in reality, racists aren't lurking around every corner. This isn't the 1950s anymore, and racism, genuine racism, is all but gone. Contrary to what you seem to want to believe, racists are rare these days. And you know what's going to happen if you continue to cry racism at every little sign of patriotism as well as anything that is genuinely racist, don't you? If you don't, then might I suggest some reading material. It's called The Boy Who Cried Wolf. Now we all know about The Boy Who Cried Wolf, right? We all know how that story ends, right? You did read The Boy Who Cried Wolf at some point growing up, didn't you? If not, you really should. It's not a particularly long story as I recall, but like all of Aesop's fables, it has a moral, one you should really take notice of and take in. After all, do you really want to be the boy or girl who cried racist? Think about that.